Hi, everybody. Welcome to a special edition of Too Opinionated, where today we are joined we're so excited. We have actor Lee Arenberg with us. So welcome, Lee.
Well, thanks, everybody. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Sean. Good afternoon.
Brett's supposed to do these. Brett's supposed to do these introductions, and he's having internet trouble, so he may or may not show. So you're stuck with me, bobbling through this.
All right. Well, you did a pretty good job. I'd give you like a C.
Yeah, I take a C. I should have let Sean do it.
You're gonna underscore.
Hey, Sean, run over to Brett's house and get that router running so you can get on here.
Isn't that? I mean, how crazy is that? Not to start off with an opinion, but the need that we all have for good working internet.
That's the truth.
I mean, I would say, I think that we should almost have, add it to the Bill of Rights, after freedom of speech, right? After our right to bear arms, right? After the right for, basically all the other, whatever, the Bill of Rights, okay? The right to good internet would be right up. Constitutional Congress.
Oh, shoot. That's what we need.
Yeah.
Well, so Lee, let's start here. You've been in acting for a while. I remember watching you back in the late '80s. Right. So, what got you started in acting? What made you want to become an actor?
It's funny. I mean, it's one of those things that I started in school, like a school kid, and I liked when the people would laugh and the applause, and I was kind of seduced by being the entertainer. And that I think the best actors in the world are the introverts.
Yeah.
And it's much harder for the extrovert to be good at it. I go to class every week working to expose and not lay on top to be a better actor.
Really?
So, my acting coach is all about, it's the undoing. It's not doing something. It's actually, especially camera on film. It's how do you just think it?
Yeah.
Don't show me. And it's, when you're trying to remember lines and remember where to walk and not kick the furniture and anything.
Acting, we talked to a lot of actors, and I got a lot of admiration for it because it's such a difficult profession. A lot of people think it's just show up and it's just easy, and it's not.
Well, yeah, I mean, showing up is the hardest part. I mean, a lot of times, showing up. Landing the gig would probably be the hardest thing, but your patience. It's a 3-dimensional jigsaw puzzle, film and television. And obviously the acting is an integral part because we ultimately tell the story is told through us. But this is a team sport. Movie making and filmmaking is a total team sport. The speed of your camera, the speed of your makeup department, the ability of your costume people to turn pieces around in time. This team. So we represent a team, and I always say that they pay you as an actor for the waiting, and the acting part is what you do for free. So the more famous you get and successful you get paid millions of dollars to sit in your trailer and wait till they call you.
Yeah.
That's it. And then the challenge would be why I'm in class is because when I've fallen asleep or I'm in a hand of playing online poker and they go, Lee, we're ready for you. I have to switch into being emotionally vulnerable to go play my scene.
Right.
And that's
not easy.
That's the trick, to be able to kind of block the noise out, and we call it drop into it.
Yeah.
Drop into that emotion, drop into the challenge of a dad who left the family coming back to meet the daughter he never met before. Whatever it is, something challenging. It's never going to be an easy one at 4 a.m. It's always going to, and it could be like when we shot Once Upon a Time up in Canada, we're always dealing with the elements.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So it might be raining and cold and, and so to add that, the crew's been out there for 14 hours. You've just come out. I have a fireplace in my trailer, right? So come ready to play, because you're going to be saving their butt 45 minutes in the cold by being on it right away.
Right.
And that team effort, right? You do it looking at it like, I think sports teaches us so much. And, you know, I would rather be on a team that didn't win the ball game, that played the right way with good sportsmanship, than winning cheating, you know, or anything like where, you know what I mean? It's like, do it the right way. And I think that's what makes good storytelling, good acting. Respect the other person. Be curious, be a good listener, care about them. Don't feel like you're superior to anyone. Johnny Depp was the biggest movie star in the world when we made Pirates. He was the most humble, kind person on that set, to the other actors, to the crew member, to the fans that would wait 3 hours afterwards. He would stop and sign for everyone. That's and amazing. Those stories don't resonate as fast as, say, some negative story would.
Sure.
Yeah.
But the truth is, like, he would call the fans the boss, and he never forgot that. The relationship,
that's awesome.
Relationship between your audience and the actor defines my art. If someone's not watching me, I'm not actually doing it.
That's a great way to look at it.
That's it. Yeah. I live at the beach thanks to you, Michael.
You're welcome. So you went to I thought this was really interesting. You went to Santa Monica High, and you had some pretty famous classmates.
Oh my gosh, of course, yeah. Big time. Big time. They were already, I mean, I like to say, you know, that I'm the oldest brat packer. I'm just kind of making it at 58. Yeah, my classmates and friends too. Sean Penn, Emilio Estevez, Robert Downey Jr. was in my theater department.
Wow.
Right? And Rob Lowe was there at the time. But that was, you know, Santa Monica at the heart of Hollywood. My family wasn't in the business. So for me to kind of make it, I might as well have been from like Morgantown.
Yeah.
My journey was like that. Even though I grew theoretically up across the street from the studio, my journey to get invited in was as if I came from across the country.
Yeah.
These guys had family connections and they were in the business. And, you know, like my son, if he chooses to get in, which I hope he doesn't do necessarily, it's not the easiest life, but he would potentially have an easier in from the people I knew and could.
That's right. Yeah. He has a connection.
Correct. But yeah, those guys, and let me tell you something, those guys, I got a lot of famous stories about, I was named Best Actor Santa Monica High when I graduated, and Emilio one time was, remember the Arsenio Hall show?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so Emilio's on the Arsenio Hall show. This is like, I mean, you could look up this clip, and it's hilarious. And Arsenio's like, starts making fun of him and me. Because he goes, you weren't even the best actor at your high school. That's
awesome.
You won best hair. Who's this guy? And I don't know when, it was probably the late 80s. And Emilio stands up. He goes, that guy is one of the best actors. He's part of this theater company, the Actors Gang, blah, blah, blah. You know, like Emilio defended me on the thing. I was like,
he had your back.
So, and you know what? I drove him to his first audition. I love that guy. I mean, there was nothing. They're beautiful people. He's one of the nicest dudes, you know, you'll ever meet. So, I think that was a great lesson in when you met Martin Sheen when I was a young actor, and he mistook me. I was in my hair for doing the play at Gray, and he thought I was the teacher. I go, Martin, I just had a burrito at your house. You know, it's like the human factor that you would get taught me that, like, I'm just a regular, I got a cool job, but I'm just a dude.
Yeah. And
I have a blue collar attitude about my art. I don't mind getting dirty. It's not
I love that.
It's a craft. We're guild members. It's Screen Actors Guild because we're craftsmen. Yeah. It's not a union. So if you're going to be a young actor, my advice is to get your hands dirty. This is not a dainty profession. It's it's a craft. It's like,
yeah, for sure.
We're going to break some eggs to make our omelet here.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, it's funny you mentioned Arsenio Hall. I was just telling Sean about this movie that he should watch called Amazon Women on the Moon.
Oh, yeah.
And Arsenio Hall, I was like, it had Arsenio Hall, and he wasn't sure who that was. So I was like,
well, you know, it's great because those B movies, I got a few. One of my favorite titles, and it's like, I never get asked about this, but there was a movie called Martians Go Home.
Yeah.
Wait, I know that one.
Do you?
I think I do. Yeah.
It's all comedians, and I play 3 or 4 like little Martians throughout, these crazy ones, like.
Hilarious.
But it's as if Martians come to Earth and they're all stand-up comedians.
Yeah.
And I forget when I did it, the late '80s, early '90s, but like who's in it? Like comedians like Vic Dunlop, and like who else? Like Bobcat, I think, was in there. And,
oh, Bobcat, yeah.
Some of the usual suspects, but you know, it's. Those B movies, man, they follow you.
Yeah, that's right. Some of them become cult classics.
Well, have you guys seen Freaked? Sean, have you seen Freaked?
I've seen Freaked.
I've heard of it.
Yeah. Okay, because Freaked is, we just had a retrospective at the Egyptian Theater in Hollywood, American Cinema.
Yeah.
Did a screening of because we just finally, after 20-something years, released a soundtrack to it, and it had original songs by Henry Rollins, the Butthole Surfers, a lot of great Texas punk bands, and so it was amazing to see from that film, right? Which is that was Catherine Hardwick, our production designer. She directed Twilight, right? John Hawke, I think 2 Oscar nominations. He was a cowboy, like, so myself.
That's awesome.
Alex Winter and Tom Stern. So I'm just saying, you just never know.
That's right. That's right.
You never know.
Yeah, you never know. Yeah.
And it's not my job. That's what I'm saying. It's not my job to judge. Once I say yes, I want to be in your movie. And once I go through the negotiation, it's why I have lawyers and agents, because they go, okay, this is what you're supposed to have when you show up.
Yeah.
I agree to that. I get that. I'm a happy camper. And then I can put my effort into having fun. I'm here to play. We're play actors. It ain't serious. It's supposed to be fun.
Yeah. I love the fact that you've been doing this for so long and you're still working at your craft. That's
oh my
impressive.
God. Well, it's because, you know why? Because I'm afraid of getting caught doing it.
Yeah.
Acting is something you never want to get caught doing.
That'd be me. They'd find me out right away.
I'm not that guy that goes thing to thing to thing to thing.
Right.
Like, you know, I go, because what happens is you get on a roll. I just did Once Upon a Time 7 years. I had a steady gig.
Yeah.
That's 7 years of not going on auditions, of not meeting the new casting directors, of not them seeing, you know, maybe they didn't like the show, or maybe they liked the first 2 seasons, right? You're out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
So you auditioning and trying to get roles is like getting invited to a knife fight. Pull a sharp one. That's that. So I'm in class. I'm producing theater. I'm doing theater on Zoom during this whole pandemic.
That's
just
awesome.
To keep busy. Doing interviews. We've got conventions going. I'm trying to stay connected, even though I'm really frustrated, like we all are. It's challenging. My business may be getting changed to being deemed essential here in California. It's such a big part of our economy that would allow us to then get the proper testing set up and the stuff that we need to be able to go
that'd be great.
Because everyone else can work with a mask. I
right.
can't.
No, you can. No. Yeah. It's really difficult.
So we would have to be set up in the protocols. I imagine it. I mean, I'm sure they'll quarantine me in the 4 seasons. It won't suck too terribly.
Right.
They're going to say, listen, you're going straight from work. You can't talk. You got a mask, you know, get in the van. You got to be tested.
You got to set up the bubble.
Well, to get you near the star, who they got to protect, because they have millions invested in that person.
That's right. That's right.
It's a big money game too. That's the other part of this equation. I don't know that the business side of show business. I was always taught it's the bigger word.
Right.
Business is the bigger word.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You never hear about that. So
you have to be a bit of a shrewd person to survive. And probably heaviest hitters in our industry and the journeymen, people like me. You have to have a blue collar attitude, but you have to have kind of like a white collar brain.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that explains it pretty well, actually, with that. Cause it's, you hear the stories all the time. Most people that get into acting don't make it, or they don't last very long.
Oh, dude. I mean, I would say it's 90-something% failure rate. Gotta be 90%. And then not to mention the dreams, or the people that do amateur theater that had the dream that maybe the dad got sick, or the mom, or for whatever reason they couldn't make the move to New York or Chicago or Atlanta or LA, right? So I act for all of them.
Yeah.
I act for listen, I heard a great thing. I live on the beach up here in California, and there was an old cat out there walking one day, and I was out running my dog, and just happened to start chatting, and he had just survived a horrible car accident.
Oh no.
A horrible, where his back, he said, touch my back. It was like reaching inside. I mean, parts of his body were, okay? He was the most grateful, cool dude. I go, like, how do you do it? He goes, I learned when I was a young man by an old man to be grateful when you get old, because you're living your life for all the people that didn't make it past 19, past 20, past 20.
Love that.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
You know what I mean? And so I try to fill myself with that kind of energy, positivity. I want to manifest my career. I want to draw in positive energy and opportunity. And the way you do that, Sean, is by imagining it and having a vision of it. Like seeing a golf shot before you hit it. Where's that ball going to go? I'm going to hit it right there. That's what you do.
Visualize.
Like shooting. Visualize. Absolutely. Big part of the game, staying positive.
Yeah, that's
totally
such good advice. Yeah, so Sean has been binge watching the pirate movies.
Nice.
This
weekend. It did just happen to happen. I was watching it with my son, and I ended up watching all of them except for one.
Well, I only got to do the first 3, so but what an amazing, like, that was a cool, like, talk about an amazing break.
Yeah.
I like to say that I was so lucky they couldn't find Short, Bald, and Crazy in London, which is
Where was I when they were casting?
But the truth is, there's a story, right? This is how the acting gods work, if you will. Okay. I needed a job bad. This is like 2000 something. I forget. I was just in my early 40s. You go through a lot of like, woe is me in this acting biz. It's challenging. You have to work hard to not take things personal, to build resentments. Yeah. It's challenging. All right. Sure. The mental side of this game is big. And, I hadn't learned these lessons yet. So I'm in an angry kind of self-loathing kind of way. And an audition on a Friday comes up for this show, a TV movie about Three's Company. It was an NBC TV movie. I needed it bad. My agent goes, hey, listen, they're offering you this part to play a producer, because I had just played a producer in this TV show called Action. And they were like, you got to go in Monday and read, but don't worry, it's a sure thing. It's an offer, but you have to read for it. And I was like, well, that usually means that's never the case, right? Like, so, but I needed it. I needed it desperately, dude. I needed it. It was my way out of I was in a hole. So, right. I go to the audition. I prep all weekend. I am ready to crush it. It's my chance, right? I show up, and there's another actor there who I won't even mention the name, but he's a great actor, and he was way better for the part than me. And I was like, I know you're going to get this part. And he got it. He got it. Basically, they said, okay, we're going to decide, and we're going to tell you right now. I think, and they chose him. And I was like, oh, so bummed, right? So bummed. Like, I mean, stupid bummed, just because like I felt like I blew it. It's the way it goes. You go there, right?
Of course.
Right. Here's the lesson. I go home. This was the day of fax machines. I go home. I open my door to the sound of the fax machine. My dog jumps up giving me kisses. I'm like, thanks, Cornelia. I love you so much. You know, she really made me feel good. I walk over to the fax machine, and it's pirates. They got this audition for a movie about these pirates, a Disney movie. And my spy's, hello, Poppy. And I read it like that. I was like, I'm going to rip her. Hello, Poppy. I was like, you see what I'm saying? So I got the best break of my career.
That's right.
You know? And so my lesson from that is, when that door slams rudely in your face, enjoy that moment, because it means there's other kind of doors that are opening up on the periphery.
Yeah.
And I've never had that single-mindedness. I mean, I've had the pursuit single-mindedness, but I've never thrown all my eggs emotionally in a basket for any role ever since, because I just realized, wow, I've wasted 20 basically years of my life with this intensity that it's fucking wasteful.
Yeah.
So that's what God works in mysterious ways.
That's a good lesson. You know, every time I've had a setback, it has always turned out to the better.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's really good.
Well, if it, you know, then there's that saying, like, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Yeah. You heard that saying, right, Sean?
Yeah. It's in like pop songs and stuff, but yes, I know it.
I love boxing. I got my karate guy here. I got it. It's I'm getting through the quarantine. I'm whatever, right?
Yeah. Nothing
better than getting up off the canvas and knock that dude's block out. Never giving up.
Yeah.
You know, never give up. And that's it. I mean, that's the key. Like, you know, as an artist, we just never give up.
You know, I hear Mike Tyson is looking for sparring partners.
Well, funny, because I've been working on the fake here, and then, you know, what a legend. I've met him twice just on the street when I used to live in Venice Beach, and he's a sweetheart.
Yeah, I've heard that about him.
He's a real nice man. I mean, he's obviously he's probably has a split personality, because in the ring he was amazing.
He's crazy.
But yeah, he's going to fight Roy Jones Jr. here.
I saw that. That's that should be interesting, because, you know, Roy Jones in his prime was pretty untouchable.
He was pound for pound the greatest in his prime.
Yeah. But I've seen some videos with
Mike Tyson's really sharp. He's physically fit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Roy must know it. Roy has great defense, but that's scary. I don't know. I still wouldn't want to get Tyson.
I wouldn't either. Not even I think Tyson's in his early 50s. I still
he's 50, at least 52, 53. I mean, he's a graveyard like us, buddy.
I know. What happened?
I think it's cool. I mean, even Sean's gonna have gray beard soon there with Cole. You know, by the time you're 25 years old,
that's when it happens.
Gray hair. Yeah,
that's right. That's when it happens. I used to have hair till all the kids showed up.
I never had hair. I think I started losing my hair like in high school, really.
Yeah, I made it till my mid-30s before I.
Oh, you did? Well, come on.
Yeah.
You're you know.
Yeah, so
usually a sign of real macho dudes, apparently.
That's right. It's too much testosterone. That's
so they say.
So they say. So Lee, I was just a huge Seinfeld fan.
Oh man.
So, you know, the parking space, one of my favorite episodes. But my question is, why did it take them 5 years to get you back on the show?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't. I have no idea. I mean, I felt
such a great character.
Yeah, I just think they had a lot of stories to tell.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was just they're waiting for the right opportunity. But yeah, I would have liked to appear every year as something, just even in a, you know, that was, first of all, it was just the talent. And what was really remarkable about my experience on that show was how generous they were with allowing the guest star to be the funny guy. Yeah. So you watch sitcoms, they don't do that. The star has to be the funny guy.
Yeah.
It's always got to be, you know, it falls to that lead actor, Tim Allen, let's say, or Kevin James, or whoever, these legendary funny men, to be the super funny guy. Jerry and the rest of the cast weren't afraid to pass the ball.
Yeah.
And it's different on that show, and that is why those shows are still funny 30 years down the road.
Absolutely.
It's fresh every episode.
They I mean,
so
some
good.
of the technology's dated, but the show, you could still watch it.
You get new comedy every time someone comes in. So I like it.
Well, if you look at that writing, it always comes down to good television. I don't know if we ever had this kind of shared in your thing, but each of the three primary acting mediums have a different primary force. So on the stage, that's the actor's medium. When the show opens, the director leaves, and we get notes from a stage manager. That curtain goes up. We don't stop till the show's done. The actor's medium. Okay. Film is the director's medium. The director is the general. He's the one that marshals. Even though he's hired most likely by a producer or is a producer, his choices on casting, on the look, on what film they make. And he's with the project from creation through post-production. Yeah. Director's medium, film. Television is the writer's medium. Because we need 23 scripts a season.
Right.
We need a Bible. So that's why the guys that run shows in television are the writer producers. They're the most powerful people in TV, the creators. Whereas film, it's the director. You got your Spielberg he doesn't usually write his scripts. Some do. Yeah. He doesn't usually write his, maybe he has a hand in it. But those legendary directors, right? So Seinfeld, the great TV, your Sid Caesar show had Carl Reiner, had Mel Brooks, right? All these Woody Allen as writers.
Yeah.
And Seinfeld had Larry David, had Larry Charles, had Greg Daniels, had as their writers, these legendary guys that went on to all these other amazing shows, Jerry. So that was the genius there, was the writing established, Carol Leifer, all these amazing people. And their ability to come up with Soup Nazi.
Yeah.
And let him be the funny guy. Or the Festivus episode, or the Steinbrenner. I mean, it just goes on and on.
So much. Yeah, we actually had Peter Melman, who was another writer on Seinfeld, a couple weeks ago.
I love
it. Well, he spoke really highly of you. He said,
he's a producer too. He was one of those.
He was a producer. He said the Susie was the one that he really enjoyed you on. But yeah, he said Seinfeld, the writing room especially, completely different from any other. Show
that was some serious heavy hitters. That was as close as we got. And it's interesting because the shows that translate, if you watch MASH, which was a huge hit, it's dated. It's dated.
It is.
Okay. But if you watch The Honeymooners, it's still funny.
It is still funny.
Jackie Gleason. And that was from 60 years ago.
Yeah.
Right.
Hard to believe.
It's the style of writing. It's the way they do. Seinfeld is definitely time framed into the 90s New York. Yeah. But it's, I mean, you're going to laugh.
Oh, you're going to laugh.
Jackie Charles, her breasts are made. I mean, the stuff they have that are just epic that became part of our national conversation, like water cooler stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny every time you watch it, no matter how many times you've seen it.
It was my first show, really. I mean, I did a Tales from the Crypt a few years before. But when I did that parking space, I remember I used to go to the dog park in Laurel Canyon, like a real Hollywood dog park where I'd take my dog. And everyone knew 40 million people watch Seinfeld per episode.
Yeah, crazy.
That's how TV view. Now, if you get 10 million on a show, it's a lot.
That's a lot, yeah.
Because people stream it later, 7-day thing. But those live numbers of 40 million people. I got a standing ovation at the dog park when I showed up. The next day after it was on. Everyone. So, it went to my head a little bit.
Hey, so you played Grumpy on I lost the show.
Once Upon a
Time. Yeah, I don't know why I couldn't think of it. Come on. Well, you played Grumpy, and you were the favorite in the household because when that came on, the kids were younger. But the one I want to ask you about is you played another dwarf. You know, I'm a big, and Brett is too. I wish he was here, but big
D&D?
Dungeons and Dragons fan.
God, so awesome.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that because unfortunately the movie wasn't quite as well received as you would hope, because I wanted to make more.
Yeah.
But what was that like, getting to play a dwarf on that? I don't know if you were ever, you were in the age range. Did you ever play growing up?
Sure, I played D&D, and I got to experience playing it after I had made the movie and we were promoting it. I would travel around with like Dave Arneson and Gary Gygax, who invented the game, and they would DM games that I would play in.
Oh my gosh, you played with Gygax.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and Dave Arneson, both.
And Dave Arneson. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I mean, I have a real connection with the original story of it. It was one of the best experiences I ever had, actually.
Yeah.
We made it in Prague.
Yeah.
So spending months over there.
Elwood, that was the dwarf.
Elwood Gutworthy.
Yeah.
And, he was I will say this, it was a bit of a misfire because I do think we were under budgeted.
Yeah.
And then New Line bought us and kind of crushed us because they also own Lord of the Rings. So they didn't want any company. And of course, you can't compete with Lord of the Rings.
No, it's tough.
They didn't want anything kind of released in that's, the same fantasy genre. So that movie should have been made 10 years earlier than it was. Yeah. The Amazing Story of Perseverance by Corey Solomon, who directed it. He acquired the rights when he was 19.
Oh, wow.
Because he just had the moxie to go in there and go, I want to make a movie. And they're like, well, you have spunk. All right. You go raise your money and come back to us. And he went out and did it, found himself an investor, and got that movie going. So it was awesome. Jeremy Irons and Thora and Marlon Wayans. I mean, it was one of the most fun times seeing that.
I know. I enjoyed it just because you got to see Dungeons and Dragons on the screen.
Yeah. And then it'd be the classic kind of like dwarf. I mean, he learns to love the elves. I mean, the whole experience.
Classic party. And
drinking, my favorite line was like, I gotta find me a nice 500-pound dwarf woman with hair on her chin you can hang on to.
Oh, love it.
That's a great line.
And he'd be like,
Put that on the poster. Put it on the shirt.
Oh my gosh. See, they could make that now, like a sequel that would do really well with the technology where it's at.
Oh, for sure. And the cost has come way down.
Yeah.
The interesting thing is, like, Pirates really was a game changer in the film industry, because that was also when ILM, they were in charge of all our visual effects. That was their return to greatness. That it was 18 years between Oscar nominations for ILM.
Yeah.
And John Knoll, who was our visual effects supervisor on the first Pirates, he and his brother invented Adobe Photoshop. Okay.
Really?
These guys are genius level.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the ability in the first movie to be when we were skeletal pirates, everything was shot on a locked off camera, couldn't pan it, lights had to be set. We would come in and act in front of it and do the scene as a reference. We would step out. Then let's say if I was doing the fight where I'm a skeletal fighting, my stuntman would pretend with all the same moves. Then he also would step out. And then they would just shoot a blank plate with what they called, I forget what Gore Verbinski called it, but it was a couple spheres that kind of matched the lighting to see where all the lights were set so that we could render it. And then they would go and layer all of it like as animation. That was how we had to do the effects of the first movie.
That's cool.
Any shot where they had to digitally change the background was hundreds of thousands to wipe out, like modern Los Angeles or airplane or something they didn't want to see in just a particular shot. Okay. By the time the second movie came around, the Davy Jones, Bill Nighy and his crew were in mocap suits with the ability to totally move through an environment, because the computers had gotten smarter.
Right.
And able to process that much more digital information. By the time I got to Once Upon a Time, which would have been 2003, 8 to 10 years later.
Yeah.
It's a lifetime in technology. Shooting a TV show, we had a full green screen stage where when we're in a castle, if they would have a couple practical pieces, but the computer was so smart that it would show, we could go over where the video record is and see the background. So then we could fill our brain, okay, that's what it's going to look like, right? And as technology keeps advancing, you know, the only thing saving grace is that they haven't figured a way to like mimic the human eye. Right. So otherwise we're kind of replaceable. Right. Because they sample our voices and do all that. What they can't quite figure out is how to mimic. Because if you ever saw that Polar Express, you know, it's not the same as having Tom Hanks. I'd rather see the real Tom Hanks than the computer Tom. Although computer Tom's all right, but you're not going to buy it.
That's right. He's not quite Tom. Sean's sister, huge Once Upon a Time fan. So
that's our main. That was our target. I mean, the reason that we stayed on the air so long, one of it was that we won the demographic of the 18 to 49 women for 7 straight years. Yeah. And so it's an understatement to call it a chick show, because the power of the woman audience and the ability for Madison Avenue to sell their soap. That's the whole game, right?
that's the whole game.
And so that's who they want. That's an audience that spends all the money as they see it, right? And obviously, you know, when you work for Disney, you know, we're all about bringing generations of family together.
That's right.
And so the proudest kind of experience or share that I got from Once Upon a Time would be when mothers would say, hey, that's the time I spend with my kid. Or the father goes, hey, the father that brought the daughter to one of our convention looks like a fish out of water. I'd be like, buddy, I got a beer for you. Thank you for, you know, dad scoring dad points, right? Because you see this with Kobe Bryant when he passed away. It's like girl dad.
Yeah.
But I saw that in my fandom too, you know? And
oh yeah, for sure.
So it's an honor to like entertain families. I mean, this is the cool thing about my job. It's when it's those moments of human connection.
Yeah.
That's what it's about, more than the paycheck or the glory.
Yeah, you know, I love that.
Paycheck and glory is better. I mean, I always rather be rich than famous. So it's like, if God is listening, I'll take rich over fame. But if fame comes with heart, it's a good thing.
Right. No, that's right. Yeah. And yeah. Too often it doesn't. So that's great to hear.
Because there's a lot of takers, you know?
Yeah.
And to be good at it, you can't give up too much. You have to have a spine too. So draw your boundaries, but pick the right boundaries. You know?
Yeah. That's really good. I always ask this question, so I'll ask you, because I think it's interesting to hear the answers. But most actors that we get to talk with, they talk about that one job that they either turned down or didn't get, and it turns out to just be a monster. Ooh. Do you have that one that you missed out on or were close to? It'd be tough to beat Pirates. I mean, that was about as big.
Yeah, I mean, I've landed some bigger fish than I probably missed. But I mean, again, you know, the weird part is I figure everything happens for a reason.
Yep.
I usually don't dwell so long on the ones I don't get, because it's like it's gone.
Well, yeah. Well, and it's just going to.
Yeah, of course. Listen, the biggest one was probably Saturday Night Live for me.
Okay.
When I was a young actor in doing my theater, this would have been 85. And I got seen in a play and invited, along with the people in my theater company at the time, young John Cusack, young Tim Robbins, an Australian actress called Carrie Armstrong, and myself were invited to audition to be part of Saturday Night Live. And
big.
That would have been probably the one. That was one of my first auditions ever.
Well, that 80s cast was
we would have been the cast. The year that I auditioned was the year after that Bobby Downey had been on it, and Joni Cusack. They were on the year Anthony Michael Hall the season before. the new cast members that got in from my season was like Phil Hartman is the big one.
Yeah.
So I auditioned with Phil and knew Phil and this kind of thing. But that would have been the show that if we were going to really go back in time, if I could change one, I would have been a series regular on Saturday Night Live in 1985.
That'd have been cool.
And I think that would have changed maybe the trajectory of my career a bunch. But, you know, it's just like, you know, that's why it is an interesting question, because it's like, well, what if?
Right.
What if,
yeah.
Or what if I got that Three's Company movie? I'm probably not here right now, right? So, but that happens a lot. Because a lot of times the weird thing is you don't realize that actors a lot of times are like, we need that job.
Yeah.
Because we go a long time without a paycheck sometimes.
Sure.
So you're never going to get us to admit it. Like we're great, we're doing great, because it's too, it sounds, you can't really show that. But man, one time I wanted this, like I was going to host a reality show.
Oh, that'd been fun.
It came down to me and another guy to be the host, and we both went to the network, and they couldn't decide, and there were pros and cons of both of us. And it would have been shot in Argentina, and I love to travel and nothing, right? And I needed the gig, and it was so close. And it made me wait. Sometimes those ones are the ones you just want to get. You just want to win sometimes.
That's right.
But like with Pirates, when I went in and Gore decided he liked me, and then I had to wait for Jerry to approve me or not approve me, I think it took 5 seconds. So once in a while it goes fast.
It goes fast, yeah.
It's going good. It's going, thank you, Lord.
You wouldn't have time to be nervous. That was so fast.
No. And nerves are, you know what? A little bit of nerves are healthy. That shows you care.
Yeah.
Getting too nervous, I learned from an acting coach a long time ago. They go, that's just rude. You're a professional.
Straighten up.
Yeah. A little bit's good. You know that my very first professional gigs were in the theater. And I was doing my very first union show was in downtown at Los Angeles at the Music Center, this theater called the Mark Taper Forum. It's about a 800-seat theater.
Yeah.
And with all professionals, very well-seasoned professionals in this cast, okay? And I remember backstage, someone had posted in our billboard, we have like, call board or whatever, an article talking about the highest heart rates by profession. And the only heart rate that exceeded actors on opening night.
Podcasters?
Test pilots and astronauts.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Really? Test pilots, astronauts, and then actors.
On the opening. That nervous.
Oh my gosh.
So we're channeling a lot of,
That's stress.
That's why breathing, relaxing, warming up, our body as our instrument is a big part of the game, especially on the stage.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's
and rehearsal.
I guess thinking about it, that makes sense, but that's a lot of stress.
But that's like, dude, that's like every audition to a certain extent is like that. Everyone.
We couldn't do that, Sean. That's not for us.
No, it's not for me necessarily. I had to learn to deal with it. Yeah. There's times in my life, when, I just see the audition. I just see the email and I start to sweat. Because it's, you can't, because anxiety is worry for the future that you can't control.
That's right.
And depression is regret of the past that you can't change. Yeah. And our challenge in life is to kind of stay in the moment.
Yeah. I like that.
That's when I see something like that and I start to experience it. I go, wait a minute, let's stop future tripping. Let's, you haven't even got the part yet.
Take a breath.
You're already worried like you need a new suitcase or something. Relax.
What would you be doing if you weren't acting?
Wow, good question. I mean, I think I would have gotten. I mean, I think I might still be in broadcasting. I would have been a sportscaster. I think.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Play-by-play. That was. I had studied that in college as one of my kind of classes, and I was pretty good at it. I think that could be a possibility. When I was young, I wanted to be epidemiologist. Believe it or not. Really? Yeah.
That's interesting.
But it was I wasn't smart enough or disciplined.
Yeah, me neither.
I have a brother that's a top. He's a doctor, but he's a PhD.
Yeah.
And so he's my older brother, and so Genius was kind of already taken. So I went for
He already had that nailed.
I went for sexy and funny. Yeah.
Hey, were you excited about the Mookie Betts signing?
Oh, huge. Yeah. I mean, I'm wearing my Dodger hat because of the game last night.
The
game last night where we went into Houston and kind of faced down. Yeah, the trash cans, as we call them here.
Yeah. They're going to struggle because their bullpen is suspect.
They have 9 rookies.
Yeah.
And it was interesting because 3 guys, they pitched well. They got squeezed for sure. They weren't getting a call against, from Blue wasn't going to give the Astros a call on a close pitch no matter what. And they were rookies to boot. And Dodgers took advantage of that. But then Joe Kelly came in and became a hero forever in this town.
Some of those faces he were making were hilarious.
He just got suspended 8 games.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Just before I jumped on, he got suspended, and we're all going and none of the Astro players got suspended 1 game.
That's half the season this year.
It's 22%. It's 22%.
Yeah,
but it doesn't matter. You know what? Everyone's like, I was joking. Listen, my next tattoo is Joe Kelly. We're all getting Joe Kelly jerseys. That was cool. He wasn't even on this team. He was a Dodger killer in 2017, 2018.
No, that's right. Yeah, he was a Red Sox.
Mm-hmm. So that said a lot for the camaraderie in our clubhouse that it was hilarious. Did you see, Sean, the YouTube video where he was pitching this summer and he breaks a window in his house?
Did not.
Look for it. It's a hilarious video. He's like, I'm warming up, and he throws it, and it's like he has a big backstop, and he misses it and busts a giant plate glass window.
Oh my God.
So when he was pitching yesterday, even though he threw a 96-mile-an-hour pitch behind Bregman.
Yeah.
Okay. The ump didn't.
Oh, he's wild.
Him. That's right. The ump didn't even warn him.
Yeah.
And so basically, if he had just walked off the field and let Correa chirp, 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 if there had been a crowd, he wouldn't have heard him go, whatever. Yeah, but once he goes, nice swing, bitch, is what said to him. Then there was,
they rile him up.
Well, whatever. It's the beauty of it because I love that at the end of the day, they just want to win. They're little guys that just like when I coach my little league guy or whatever, and I'm helping out on the squad. We want them to have a good time, but when it's spring ball in little league, we're trying to win. Fall ball, we don't care. Fall ball, we're just trying to win an inning. When it's spring ball, we're teaching them how to win, but lose with grace, but play hard and try and win the ball game. That's why you're trying to win it.
That's right. Well, Lee, thank you so much for the time. This is
Michael,
this is awesome.
Sean. Yeah, it was really fun, guys. Anytime we can do part 2 when
yes.
I'll be happy to come back anytime. I really enjoy it.
Yes, we got to because I know Brett's sitting at home crying right now.
Well, tell Brett I'm coming back. We'll do a part 2, and he can get his questions in.
Yeah, he's got to. Yeah, absolutely. Before we end, Lee, where can people find you if they are interested in learning more?
Definitely look for me on at Lee Arenberg, Twitter and Instagram, probably the 2 best places to find me social wise. And feel free to send me a message or whatever. And I'm a human. I will respond. You
answered right away with me. I was really impressed. That's rare, especially on Facebook. That's always dicey when you're getting messages.
Well, you know what? The weird thing is, I also realized, that because of that, I check it out. But you're full legit. I was like, yeah, for sure. It sounded fun anyway. And listen, I'm nothing if not over opinionated. I was like, wow, I'm a natural. They don't even know.
You're perfect for the show.
You have no idea what you've just done, Michael.
Oh, it's great. All right, hold on just a second. I'm going to hit pause. So that was the great Lee Arenberg. What'd you think, Sean?
He is awesome. I was excited to meet him.
He's like my favorite guest. I can't even talk. My favorite guest ever.
He's just a good dude.
He's just a good dude. Oh my gosh. And we paused the recording so we could tell him bye. And he took another 20 minutes to tell us more stories, to call Brett, because Brett wasn't able to get the internet working to be on the show. So he calls Brett to make him feel better and agrees to come back on the show. Good dude.
Good dude. Yeah.
The best dude.
Oh,
Unbelievable. I was a big fan before. Now, huge fan. Unbelievable. And his
I was
attitude,
so excited.
Yeah, his attitude and how he approaches just life, not just acting, but life is so refreshing. I mean, just, that's how all of us need to take, just day-to-day life and how we treat each other. It's just really amazing. Plus, I didn't even get, he said such nice things about us. I didn't even get it. We weren't recording. We got to have him back just so he can repeat it. Nobody's going to believe it. All right. Thanks, Sean, for joining. Always a blast when you're on. This has been great.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say. I wanted to say something profound, but
I'm ready to have him back on. I have more questions to ask him.
You need to get your questions in there. Tell me to shut up. Get your questions.
Yeah, you two talk all the time.
We gotta hit all of his. He's been on like every Star Trek show. We have to hit that. Have to. So we got to do that. We got to get Brett back on here. It's going to be great. Thank you everybody for listening. This was just a terrific, fun episode. Please check us out on Facebook under MeisterCon. And if you're so inclined, we can always use help. If you want to donate to the show, we're trying to build us a studio that should be opened up in a couple of months. Please check us out, patreon.com/MeisterCon. Even a few dollars is a huge help to our show. So thank you. Until next time, boom.
Bang.